It's a sunny Sunday at the Seat Unique Stadium. Good morning, welcome to coverage of the last day of Gloucestershire against Durham. The Durham players are having their own FA Cup final in the outfield as they build up to a day where they believe they will win in Bristol in a 4-day game for the first time. They're on top, 181 for 6 Gloucestershire at the close last night. They need 246 to win. How high is the mountain, Dan? Morning.
Everest. K2. Morning, Ian. Yeah, I mean, it's inevitable, isn't it? They're not going to get 245 for the loss of, 4 wickets in hand. The only thing really we're looking at is whether Marcus Harris gets his century. He needs 29 for his century. And it's a lovely sunny day. The crowd has still turned up here, which is, goes to show how loyal the fans are down here in Bristol, and hopefully we can sort of take it through to lunch and at least make Durham battle for their victory.
Yes, I heard a clip from Marcus Harris this morning, and we'll hear from him a little bit later on, where he said we want to get some overs into pots and rain and see what happens after that.
Yeah.
And that's probably the best approach you can take from this position at the moment.
Cricket's a funny game, isn't it? Strange things happen. But, I mean, the probability, is that Durham are going to win this probably by about lunchtime. But you never know. You never know.
We'll say bright conditions here, very pleasant for watching whatever cricket we will have today. Yesterday, we were struggling to remember a day when you had nearly 500 runs in red ball cricket in Bristol. And here are the highlights.
Shaw goes for it. That's in the air. That's gone for 6. Tossed up. Shaw's gone for that again. He's got that into the mound stand. That's 6 more. Just 4 now needed to avoid the follow-on.
For Potts. And he's bowled him. Clean bowled. Pitched up.
Taylor in. That's a nice shot from Jones. Punched off the back foot. That's going to be the first boundary.
Again. And Lees pulls that. That will be 4. First boundary to him.
That's in the air. That's going to be 1 bounce, 4 runs.
Waiting for that line. That's a good shot. Cracked away by Lees through the gap in the covers to Lees, and he's cut that through the same gap through the offside just to prove he's not all about playing off his pads.
5 points. That's gone down the ground. Jones has got hold of that one. That's gone for 6 into the mound stand. Jones has got hold of that. That's gone over Ben Charlesworth's head. That's a big 6. And Zafar, that goes down the leg side, and Jones picks that one up again for yet another 6.
272 the lead, as you can see, and his Zuman Akhtar coming in, and he's bowled Lees off a bottom edge.
Oh, that's got to be close. That's out. Borthwick not offering a shot. That's being smashed up into the air. He hasn't got all of it, but it's still enough to go for 6.
Shaw. Oh, that's spooned up, and that's a wicket for Josh Shaw. Chris Dent with the catch. Zavika hard to bowl to him. That's pushed away, and he'll get the 100. It's found the gap between point and square leg, and it's gone all the way to the bounce fence for 4. And Michael Jones becomes the second Durham batsman in this match to achieve a notable personal milestone.
Zafar in, that's gone up in the air, and it goes over the boundary. That's in the air, and Jack Taylor's welcome to the attack by dropping 1 short. That's gone in the air, and that's going to be 6 more.
Robinson needing 1 for his 50, and he'll get it there with a paddle down to Miles Hammond. 25 balls for that 50. Zafar to continue. Attempted reverse sweep from Robinson, and he's stumped by James Bracey. So that rapid cameo. They're coming in. That looks like that's the declaration.
Bowling to Dent. Oh, and that's gone between 2nd and 3rd slip.
Edged and caught. Dent didn't survive long. He's Potts to bowl to him. It's edged, and that's caught. Well, blow me. Alex Lees has taken that. That's a sharp chance.
That's a lovely shot, Miles Hammond. Marcus Harris.
The famous Ian Cobain innings here.
Rain to Hammond, who drives that beautifully through the covers. That's going to go all the way for 4 despite.
Potts with 2 wickets already. That's cut and cut. I say it's cut hard. It is cut hard.
That's a lovely shot. Miles Hammond dances down the pitch, goes inside out and gets that.
And that's come off Hammond, and he has to go caught in the slips, off the glove.
That's well bowled. Taylor's been stumped first ball. Occasional bowler. And there's 50 for Marcus Harris. Well batted. Oh, that's spat. Where's that one gone? Bracey's gone. That one has spat out the rough, taken the glove. Short, wide. Zafar pulls that for 6. Oh, is that stumped? Zafar Gahar has been stumped for the 2nd time.
Players will walk off with Gloucestershire getting to the end of the day, leading notionally 245 to win tomorrow. There was the board across the 4 innings of the game. Marcus Harris unbeaten on 71, just a light roller being used on the wicket. You can see the footmarks in particular at the Ashley Down Road end, and that is why Ajas Patel and Zafar Gahar to some degree have extensively been bowling from this pavilion end in this match. And with Paul Coghlan off the field for Durham, it's really probably down to 3 bowlers for them to try and wrap up this match, and for Gloucestershire to try and see off Potts and Rain and Patel, who may well open. Marcus Harris, though, got to 71 not out last night, and Jack Longstaff spoke to him at Stumps.
So Marcus, Gloucestershire end 181 for 6. Yourself and James Bracey put on a really decent partnership there, and it's just unlucky that he got out to a ball which is pretty much unplayable.
Yeah, I think so. The wickets obviously deteriorated a fair bit over the week, so I think like we saw with Scotty Borthwick there, he bowled 3 or 4 balls that were like that. So unfortunately for Brace, he got a bit of glove on one, but it was good to see that he fought his way through to get a really good 50 on not an easy wicket. So it was good to see him get a few out of the middle. Obviously disappointed we lost a couple of wickets there late, but I thought we showed some good fight.
And looking ahead to tomorrow, yourself 71 not out, and with Matty Taylor at the crease, who got an unbeaten 50 last time out, what are your hopes and plans for tomorrow?
Yeah, well, the plan is just to bat for as long as we can. I think there's only been maybe like 40 or 50 overs, so there's still a little while till that new ball. So hopefully we can stick around for a while, absorb a bit of pressure, and then go from there and just take some time out of the game and then see what happens. But it's literally as simple as just taking it over by over, and hopefully we can get to lunch and then go from there.
Thanks, Ari. Well batted.
No worries, mate.
Is he ready? Very well done, and he's done superbly. And it's a big shot straight away from Phillips. There we go, he might have just turned his bat on.
So here we are about 5 minutes from the start of this final day of Gloucestershire against Durham here at the Seat Unique Stadium. Good morning from Dan Whiting and Ian Randall. Strange, here we are, you know, still with a full week to go in May, still with the Whit bank holiday, as us old people talk about it,
Yes.
to come. And yet there are, the diary says there are only 2 red ball matches in Bristol for the rest of the summer.
Bizarre,
It's
isn't it?
crazy, isn't it?
Bizarre.
6 out of 14 gone by the middle of May.
Yes. Well, it's the scheduling, and it's very difficult these days when you have to fit an extra competition in, don't you, like the 100? And, obviously something has to give, and they've decided that 4-day cricket is less important than possibly the 100. The ECB, the powers that be, perhaps.
Well, one hopes that Richard Thompson and Richard Gould can try and change that mode of thinking. It's going to be a slow process, I think, because they have to get 2/3 of the counties on board.
Yeah, I think
to make
12,
that change.
12 have to vote, don't they?
And we already know that the 2024 season will be the same as this.
Yeah.
They've given themselves basically a year and a half to try and pull everybody in onto the boat going in the same direction.
Yeah, well, it'll be interesting to see. Anyway, back to this game. It'll be an interesting morning's play. Can Gloucestershire get through to lunch unscathed, Ian Randall?
Well,
that's the question on everyone's lips.
And in terms of the overall runs, 246 runs to win in on the final day, in a lot of situations, would be a really teasing kind of match setup. But the problem is the wickets column.
Yeah.
And you and I just chatted about this before we came on air. If Durham had enforced the follow-on yesterday, Gloucestershire would be 33 in front with 4 wickets left. And obviously then they would be taking time out of the game and adding runs. If they were to get, let's just say, another 100 from that situation, your scenario of Durham having an awkward 140 to chase, which I think you said about on Friday afternoon, would come to pass, and Gloucestershire would still be in the game. But 100 runs from here, they're nowhere near winning it, and that is exactly why Durham batted on.
Yeah, I can see why. And Durham have set the tempo, though, haven't they? They set the pace, and they scored quickly yesterday afternoon. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen a day's cricket in domestic 4-day cricket anyway, where there've been 500 runs scored.
Yeah, very nearly 500 runs.
Yeah, it's like going back to, as I said, Bradman's Australians. I think Essex bowled them out for 703 or something like that in a day, and I think that is probably a record. But I don't recall 500 runs in a day. If you get 400, you've had a really good, entertaining day. Anyway, the umpires are on their way out to the middle. Mark Newell and Surendiram Shamnugan, closely followed by the Durham team, led by Scott Borthwick, and they'll be looking to wrap this up and get their canny way back to the northeast.
I don't expect we will see Paul Coghlan out there today fielding. He went off yesterday, having only bowled 3 balls in his first over, and indeed George Dressel is out there on the field as a sub-fielder, so I find it impossible to believe that Coghlan will play any further part in this match, and therefore, in reality, Durham probably only have 3 bowlers that they're going to use here. Rain, Potts and Ajaz Patel.
Yeah, I believe Coghlan was suffering a few weeks back from a side strain as opposed to a back. We've said that he's had a load of back issues during his career, but we believe that it is a reoccurrence of the side strain. that he missed sort of a few games earlier in May with. Ajaz Patel is going to take us away from the pavilion end, where he has twirled away so far in this game. He bowled 29 overs in the first innings.
And 15 in this already.
And 15 in this, so he's had a good workout in the West Country. And Marcus Harris is going to face 71 not out. I think the subplot this morning is, can Harris get his 100, farewell 100, before he goes and joins the Australian side. Here we go, Patel, left arm over the wicket. And Harris drives him out to deep cover straight away for the first run of the morning. Harris on the 72, 182 for 6.
Only 3 matches currently in play in this round of games. A lot of results yesterday. One game in the first division at Trent Bridge and the other game in the second division is at Hove.
Durham fielders all round the bat there. Circling.
Yes, round the bat to Matt Taylor, but not necessarily to Harris.
Yeah. Patel coming around the wicket to the right-hander. Matt Taylor defends stoically.
Having got that career best at Derby, I suppose no better time for him to have to hang around for a long stint here.
Yeah. Oh, big puff of dust came up there. You can see how dry this wicket is. Like a dust devil. Patel. Oh, that's got to be close. Oh, I thought Shamnugan was going to lift there as well. His hand came out of the pocket.
He's just putting a coin from one pocket to the other.
He took the gun out of the holster. Patel. Taylor smacks him through mid-wicket. That's going to be the first boundary of the morning. Cry of, come on, bomber. Matt Taylor's nickname.
There's a big gap on the leg side, and Durham with, I say, a bank of runs to play with.
Durham won't mind.
Oh no!
These guys hitting against the spin as well. Patel's turning it from leg 2 off. As Taylor drives that one back to him. So he's turning it from leg 2 off. So Taylor would be going across the line and against the spin, which Durham are hoping for. And he spoons a catch up into the offside or misses one completely.
Matthew Potts is going to bowl from the Ashley Down Road end. Again, you and I both have a drive on the motorway home in different directions at the end of play, and thinking last night that he's bowled very little that's been loose here. He's been very accurate.
Well, he's
not perhaps ultra threatening all the time, but he's given very few runs away that have been cheap, and you can see why he's in and around the test picture, can't you?
Yeah, and he might even be further into the side now, because Ollie Robinson, I believe, didn't bowl after lunch yesterday.
Having a scan on a sore ankle.
Yeah, so
2 slips for Potts, right arm around the wicket, and Harris comes forward and defends and pushes it back up the pitch.
Yeah, so if, James Anderson is likely to play, but there are some injury doubts about him. I think a groin niggle there.
I think we said yesterday, I don't see him playing against Ireland.
No,
for sure.
No.
Nor Broad for me.
So it wouldn't surprise me to see Potts play against Ireland on the 1st of June.
Here he is again. Squeezed away by Harris. He's played that shot so often in this innings, just getting forward, steering the ball, just nudging the ball round his pads, down to find like one more single to the total.
It's his get out, isn't it? It's his way of rotating the strike.
Yeah.
It's, you know, a straight ball, but he just works it on the angle, and he plays it with a straight bat, but sort of like a thick inside edge down there for one.
And of course, Durham are more than happy for Harris to take the single because they've got Matt Taylor on strike. 2 slips, a gully, a point, and a short mid-wicket, a short catching mid-wicket for Potts. And there's a gap through extra cover, which Matt Taylor finds. There's a chase for Baz DeLader, and they'll come back for a couple. And part of the reason why we had nearly 500 runs yesterday, yes, I get the fact that there is a reasonably short boundary in professional cricket terms towards the scoreboard, but the outfield is very, very fast.
It's very fast, and Durham came out full of intent.
Yeah. Yeah, possibly a 4th win of the season today on the cards for them. Matt Taylor waits for Potts, and it's a misfield, and they'll pinch a single. It shouldn't have been a single there really, but misfield by the man at square leg.
DeLader
Means that Taylor goes into double figures. Matt Taylor 2 first-class 50s in 73 previous first-class appearances, so he has been known to hang around. That's what he's got to try and do here. Harris also a short catching mid-wicket, but just 2 slips, mid-on, mid-off, and cover saving 1, but again the dab down to 3rd man, and more work down there for George Dressel, former Gloucestershire member of staff, of course, was released and found himself a short-term white ball deal at Durham, and then got a further extension for 1 year for this year. Didn't play an awful lot though last season, mainly played in the Royal London Cup, which is, I suppose, what you kind of might expect given his age and profile and what he does in the team. Matt Taylor pushes that out of the offside end of Potts' first over of the morning. He and Rain, I think, will bowl from the far end from our commentary position. He's bowled 13 overs now, and he has 2 of the 6 wickets that have fallen. Gloucestershire started today 181 for 6. They've added 10 so far, so just 236 more to win.
Josh Shaw's in next.
235 actually. 235.
Josh Shaw's in next. He got 37 not out in the first innings. Likes to put bat to ball. Here's Patel. And Harris uses his feet. Drives it straight back at the New Zealander. Driven pleasantly backward as square, and you can get 1.
It was tossed right up, wasn't it?
It was tossed right up, yeah.
How many strides of the follow through he's got to work with there, particularly to the left-hander. He's probably got 3 paces, I would think. Not quite so many, because Potts bowling round the wicket in particular. He's bowling a little bit wider of the crease, so I think he's more dangerous, arguably, to the left-hander. The ball that got Bracey yesterday was just about unplayable, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was interesting. I had this chat with, there's a chap called Adrian Thomas who's known to all and sundry here at Gloucestershire, and I'll come on to it after this ball from Patel. That's strangled appeal. Gloucestershire have got 5 left-handers out the top 6, and that rough there has obviously been an issue, but there's rough outside the right-handers off stump now as well. And would that have occurred without, because the Durham bowlers wouldn't go around the wicket to a right-hander, not in a normal situation, would they? It's an interesting point.
No.
It's an interesting point. So Patel with this minimalist run-up. Taylor rocks onto the front foot and gives it a textbook forward defensive. As he does again there. Our emails are open. Drop us an email. Ian Randall, myself, Dan Whiting. It's commentators@glossccc.co.uk. There it is. There's the email address. There's Pinky and Perky on your screen.
I would say who's who. Somebody said Waldorf and Stadler. I don't know whether that was a bit unkind as well.
Drop us a line and let us know where you're watching it from. Send us your photos. We'll get those up on the screen if we can. And I'm sure there's plenty listening in from the northeast looking for a Durham win today.
Here's Potts around the wicket, and again Harris with that clip from round his front pad out to deep square for a single. Alex Lees is out there, not in the slip cordon at the moment. He took a sharp catch in the slips during the first innings.
I thought Beddingham's yesterday was sharp, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Wow. Off
The James
sorry,
Bracey,
Lee's off off Bracey's. No, that was round the corner. It was Lee's off Charlesworth, wasn't it? That was a quick catch.
yes, it was.
That was a sharp chance.
That was a first baller for Charlesworth yesterday. And the schedule doesn't help him now, does it? Because he's just got 2 decent scores. He's probably going to go a month without playing a 4-day game. Potts in, Matt Taylor forward.
We've got one here on the 11th of June against Leicestershire.
Yes, but I mean that's a while to wait.
Yeah.
And I think that might be the only
3 weeks, 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Starts 3 weeks today, actually, doesn't it?
It is a Sunday start, that one. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We'll be covering that
that's
live on the screen.
48 hours after the Somerset game in the T20.
Yeah.
Potts into Taylor down the leg side and taken by Robinson. Umpire Newell signifies that is to his colleague. That is 4 for the over. They always just check. As Dan said, you signal 1 to go and the umpire's walking in. You think, oh, hang on a minute, what have I done?
Yeah, you don't make your colleague look silly.
Delayder's gone into a leg slip here. And Potts, once again, that's a better line. And Taylor just pushes it up to Borthwick. Just bowled himself a little bit yesterday, but got the important wicket of Bracey. As with the leg spinners, they can tend to be expensive, but you won't worry about that because he used himself as a stand breaker, and that's exactly what he did. Potts this springy run, and that's going away from Taylor. He lets it go outside the off stump. So Durham's bowlers still need 4 wickets. Patel will give his cap to the umpire, and he could bowl unchanged to the end of the innings here, whenever that might be. That may well happen.
Yeah, I think so. It's an interesting day yesterday, and because we're obviously tucked away, we're up in the media box up here, we're well away from sort of the crowd. And I came downstairs saying there'd been people who'd I'd come on to it after this ball from Patel as Harris gets forward. There's been people who'd obviously had a bit of sun on their heads perhaps, and possibly been imbibing the local cider perhaps. But what a day they were treated to yesterday. Good cricket here. It's a healthy crowd as well. Oh, that spat out of the rough. Let's have a look at this again. Be interesting to see what that's hit, whether that's hit I think it's hit him on the elbow.
It's quite a Bit of debris around his boots there, isn't there?
Yeah.
Too?
That's a little bit high. I thought that might be worth a shout, actually, but I mean, you're never going to get it, but you plant the seed of doubt in the umpire's mind,
Yeah,
don't you?
that's the variation, isn't it?
Here he is, over the wicket, as Harris digs that one out with a big puff of dust.
Toss one up, toss one up, toss one up. Give him the arm ball, then
Yeah.
then the slightly flatter, quicker one.
Harris going dancing down the wicket and just plays Patel into the offside and picks up another one. Moves on to 77 now, 194 for 6.
I get the impression that he'd probably like to take more of Patel, Harris, than Matt Taylor would.
Yeah, I get that impression. Taylor just defends that one to short leg.
On the basis that Potts is a bit more of a known entity. I'm
Yeah.
not saying he's any easier to play,
No.
but it's a bit more orthodox, whereas Patel, to a lower order batsman, particularly on a pitch like this, where you can see, not perhaps quite so much, but even from that wide angle camera, you can see on the left of your screen the greater wear at the Ashley Down Road end, which Patel is bowling into. But the target is 426, so 232 more in theory.
Yeah, Durham looking to add some silverware to their 3-county championship wins back in 2008, 2009 and 2013, all with Gloucestershire head coach Dale Benkenstein in the side.
So Beddingham's moving to a leg gully here to try and stop that little nudge from Harris. So they've taken one of the slips out. Potts in, and Harris has to play that back up the pitch on the offside. So in terms of the leg side field then for Potts, he's got a short mid wicket on, either you might say catching on for that little mistimed clip. He's certainly saving a single there. To me, he's probably more of a catcher, as is Beddingham in that position, and Michael Jones is the only slip now in close. Harris has played that cleverly. He's worked that in the gap past the short mid-wicket, and it's gone all the way to the boundary in front of the scoreboard for 4. It was the chaser out there.
Clark, I think it is, isn't it?
Where is Delader? No, I think it might be Delader, I think. Anyway, 4 more to Harris. Potts again, and this time Harris punches him out towards the boundary at deep point, and they'll come back for 2. It's cleverly played. .200 up for Gloucestershire. Each little milestone will be ticked off. Next one, can they get maybe the runs required down below 200? These two, that's very short from Potts. Tennis ball bounce, really.
His bouncer comes with an anguished cry of...
It's not quite a Jimmy Connors serve grunt,
No.
is it, though?
No.
And at least
or even Anna Kournikova.
And it's only what you might call the real energy ball, whereas someone like Connors, it was almost habitual. There was a bit there as well, to be fair.
Do you think that was to put off your opponent, or
I
do you think it just habit?
I don't know. I'm sure it became habit. Sure, it became habit. It's so many coaches in sports talk, and you understand what they mean, but it is a word that covers a lot of facets of the game. The process. So what does that mean? The process for Ben Charlesworth of getting ready to face a delivery involves walking out to the right-hand side of the wicket, unstrapping his gloves and strapping them up again before he faces. There is Potts around the wicket, and Harris just drags the bat away. We've given the benefit of the doubt there. Didn't really push too hard at that. And to go back to the Connors example, it became the part of the process of delivering the serve that the grunt was there. You know, each to his own, or her own.
The word process seems to have come in Mikel Arteta. We have to trust the process.
Oh, is he one of those as well?
Oh, yeah. So it's become the buzzword in sport now, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Anyway.
John Bracewell used to use it, to be fair. Gloucestershire coach used to use it as well.
Here's Patel to Matt Taylor, who processes that one into short leg. On the bounce, though. No harm done. Around the wicket, Patel. Taylor.
A different word for that would be the plan, wouldn't it?
Yeah. The plan, the process.
You've got to find the buzzword.
Patel. Oh, Taylor's got a thick inside edge. He's going to get some runs, but a moral victory there to Ajaz Patel. In fact, Taylor might... No, he hasn't got... He's just going to get a couple.
Yeah, Michael Jones on the chase down there to the boundary at the otherwise known as the south of France end. It's not probably quite south of France in that corner this morning because the sun is more towards the Kennington Avenue side of the ground just at the moment.
Patel in. And Taylor's been given LBW. That did look quite close. And Taylor has to depart for 12. Umpire Shanmugam lifts his finger. And Gloucestershire lose their 7th wicket with the score on 202.
We might look at get that again in full at the end of the over.
Patel picks up his 3rd.
And that's why I think Harris would have wanted to actually be taking more of the spinner. The lower order batsman faced with this situation might find it a bit of an unequal battle.
Yeah.
So Taylor trudges off. I expect we'll see
Josh
Shaw next. Now, he decided that in the first innings the best way to try and put Patel off, at least for a while, was to counterpunch a bit, but difficult to see how you can make any big inroads into this total by doing that over a period of time against a ball that's probably spinning even more than it was yesterday.
Yeah, we've had an email in from Chris Upton, mate of yours, Ian. Morning, gents. Hoping for a full day's play today, watching from a very wet Port Elizabeth in South Africa. Spent a lot of Sundays with Ian in my youth as he was our Sunday captain for St Stephen's in Cheltenham. Keep up the great work. Come on, Gloss. Right, here we go. Let's have a look at this LBW.
Well, I was Sunday captain for St Stephen's in Cheltenham. Gosh, that's longer ago than I care to remember.
Yeah, he's plumb. He's plumb. It's just turned straightened a little bit, and Matt Taylor has to go. Tom, rain stop play, inspection at 3 blog. He's nervously watching the stream on TV at home instead of being at the ground. Currently ironing a dress shirt for our trip to Berg Island. Wondering if I should turn up in full evening dress mode for the Glamorgan T20 game. It's a black tie event, isn't it? Shaw crashes that into the offside. First ball.
I have to say, can I talk a bit about Berg Island?
You can talk a little bit about whatever you
Can
want,
I?
Ian. Yeah.
Maybe at the end of the over.
Yeah. Patel to Shaw, who plays a forward defensive. That is the end of the over. Tell us all about Berg Island.
So it is not far from Salcombe.
In Devon?
In South Devon.
Yeah.
And it is unusual in that obviously the island becomes isolated when the tide comes in. And if you want to get to it, you get to it on a sea tractor.
Right.
Which is it's a very strange looking contraption. But as you might imagine, because it's got to go through the water, you only stand on the upper deck, so to speak.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things that if you go to Burr for the day and you want to go on the beach or you want to go for a walk around that particular area near Bigbury, you always want to check the tide times, because you could turn up thinking you can go for a walk and the tide's in, and vice versa.
And I'm sure plenty of people up in Durham have been to Lindisfarne, which is a similar...
Same scenario.
Yeah, if you get stuck there, get your car in the car park, you've got to wait 12 hours to get it out.
Potts around the corner and pushed out on the offside by Marcus Harris. Now, it's one of my favourite parts of the country. That I've in a previous life.
With Berg Island or Lindisfarne?
But I have been to Lindisfarne.
Yeah, it's lovely. Some lovely beaches in Northumberland.
There are. But in a previous life, a business I had a connection with was not far from there. Here is Potts again, and Harris. Bat and pad close together, just a squirt out on the offside. Recommended that I fancied a breakaway, and they recommended that I went to one of his clients who ran a farm bed and breakfast.
Right.
Very good it was too. And I've been going to that part of the country probably for 25 years, 30 years on and off. And it's great because the mobile phones don't work in a lot of places. So you just feel completely disconnected with the modern world, which can be an absolute joy, let me tell you. Potts again to Harris, who plays it back up the pitch, and Potts fields off his own body. And we are at times just constantly either looking at phones or the phone's going with messages and what have you, in emails and any number of elements of communication, just to be able to think that I don't care if people are trying to get in touch, they just won't be able to.
Yeah, that's a good thing. That is a good thing.
And it's not that commercialised, particularly if you go out of season, out of the main holiday season. Potts again in, and Harris once more defends. He needs 17 for what would be a kind of a backs to the wall, back foot type of century, but still 100 is 100 in first class cricket, isn't it?
Yeah, so going back to sort of Wi-Fi, I mean, if a hotel advertised that it's got really poor Wi-Fi, would that attract you to it?
It might well do.
Dead ball.
Yeah, Potts stopped his run. Harris wasn't ready. I have one other little story about Burr Island as well, which I'll come to in a moment. Potts around the wicket, and Harris clips that beautifully away through a straight mid wicket. That's going to go all the way for 4. It's a big gap there, but you've still got to play it. And that wasn't really hit with any great force. It was just beautifully timed.
That was gorgeous.
Yeah, everything in the right place. Head over the ball.
Just let the ball come to him.
Read the length really well.
And played it under his head. Beautiful. We're joined today on the production side by Jack Longstaff, jumping Jack Longstaff here on the bringing you the pictures at home. Did a cracking job yesterday. It was a long day yesterday. And he's a big Leeds fan, as is Josh Shaw, who's out there. And they've got a big game against West Ham later on.
Harris again defends. Last ball of Potts is over. Actually, just to pick up on Chris Upton's note. Thanks, by the way, for your note, Chris, and just shows that the stream is accessible literally all around the world. And if you're still with us, I wonder if you remember a gentleman called Mike Cook, who also sends us emails. Mike's in the States. and also played in that same cricket club that you and I played in. So sometimes you never know where the tentacles of cricket spread to, do you?
We want to know how bad. Ian Randall said he was a number 11, an out-and-out number 11. I want to know how bad a number 11 he was. Anyway, we had a chat the other day with Durham's Director of Cricket, Marcus North, who came and joined us on the stream, and fabulous company he was too. Here's Patel to Shaw, who plays and misses at that. And there was a little sort of debate going on whether Harris or Warner should be in the Ashes side for Australia. As Patel comes in and Shaw defends. And Marcus North, interestingly, said, I don't think they'll start with Harris, but I think they should do. It'll be interesting to see who does get the nod in that first test against England. As Shaw just nurdles one around the corner. And he's going to get to... Oh, he's tight there. He's almost run himself out. That would be a disaster. But he's got himself back home. But it'd be interesting to see who turns out, because I think Khawaja's definitely going to open for Australia. So David Warner coming to the end of his career. Aussies don't really go for sentiment. They're not a sentimental nation when it comes to sport. You know, they won't give him a sort of send-off. Sure, that's in the air, but he's going to get 4 runs. But that was in the air for a long time, perilously close to Basdelada at backward point. So it'll be interesting to see who opens with Khawaja. And Marcus Harris, if he scores 100 here in English conditions, will do his chances no harm whatsoever. Patel, quicker ball, that's outside the off stump.
That's probably the first ball certainly today, and I would say almost the first ball of the match that he's really fired quite wide outside the off stump.
Yeah, just putting the man backward at point.
He's had a couple down the leg side which have been called as wides, but not outside the off stump.
That's Beddingham going back as well there, I think. So that's defended. 212 for 7. Shaw on 6. Harris on the number that Australians consider unlucky, because it's 13
short of 100.
Yeah, so he's on 87.
So I say there are only 2 other matches going on today in the Championship. In the First Division, Essex 209 for 1 against Notts in their second innings. They lead by 65. And Glamorgan 512 for 6 at home in the second division against Sussex. So they lead by 154 with 4 wickets in hand. And don't forget in that game Ollie Robinson isn't bowling because of this sore ankle. So that game still could be quite a teasing one. The Essex-Notts match looks like it's heading for a draw. Essex not far enough ahead, you would think, to set anything up there. Not against genuine bowling anyway.
Kieran Carlson 192 in that. He's out though.
Ooh. Here is Potts into Harris, and it's like you're playing the same record over and over again, which I've been known to do. Little nudge behind square on the leg side.
David Fenwick. Hello Davey, how are you mate? He said, hi Dan and Ian, I was up on the North Humberland coastline yesterday. Beautiful part of the world. And that is Bamburgh Castle in the background, the cricket ground there in front of it, I believe. And the picture is overlooking the harbour at Sea Houses. And David's wondering who has impressed you from the Durham side. He said, thanks to both of us for our commentary. Well, I'm glad you've enjoyed it, David. You've been a wonderful sort of guest,
contributor.
Really. Yeah, and contributor. And you've been great stuff. And as you always are, whenever, you know, I've covered Durham in the past.
Graham Clark's gone into leg slip. Potts to Shaw.
Who's impressed you, Ian, from the Durham side? All of them.
They've all done something.
They have.
I would suggest.
Yeah.
Coghlan got some runs, even though he didn't bowl all that well. Deleda got runs. We've barely seen him as a bowling force in the match. Patel, Potts and Rain have all done what you would expect. There doesn't look a weakness in this 11, does there? I mean, Lees and Jones have got runs at the top of the order. Borthwick's captained well. Beddingham's caught well. He's got 2 starts without really going on, but he's contributed to the impetus of the whole thing. And Ollie Robinson has made runs, even if he's not kept brilliantly all the time. So I think everyone could walk away saying, I've put my 3/8 worth into this win. Potts again to Shaw is almost played on. Not quite though, his back pad just got in the way.
I'm going to go left field here, and I'm going to go for Scott Borthwick's captaincy, because I think he has led this side really well. I think he's been innovative in his field positions. I think he's tried things. I think he's rotated his bowlers well, and I think he has marshalled his troops beautifully, and you can see why Durham are top of the league.
Yeah, they look a confident group at the moment. Potts again to Shaw. That's all bounced away past third slip down towards the third man boundary. It might even go all the way. It's just going to be held up, and they'll only be able to take 2. It was never a chance, but it did go off the outside half of the bat. And Shaw, having got an unbeaten 37, best score of the season in the first innings, now has to try and give Marcus Harris some support here. 211 more to win. Gloucestershire are more than halfway to the total. That's one way of looking at it. Potts to Shaw, and they can pinch a single there too. No weight on that shot, but there's a biggish gap on the leg side, even with Clark at leg slip, and just the ball just dribbling out, and a good call meant comfortable 1 to the total. So the one man out today, Matt Taylor, who started this morning with Marcus Harris as the 7th wicket pair. Taylor, though, LBW to Patel for 12. He survived 42 balls, and we need plenty more of that for Gloucestershire to cause Durham any kind of real concern here.
Patel going to start the over from the pavilion end. The 57th over of the innings. Shaw just defends that onto the onside. Throws that one up a little higher. Shaw equal to it, defends. That picture that Davey sent, that North Sea, it looks beautiful, but I bet it's cold. Oh, I bet it's a bit colder than the sea around Berg Island, where Ian Randall goes and dips his toes into the water.
See, it's
defends.
not Christa Berg, it's Burr.
Burr, not Christa Berg.
No.
No. And will there be a lady in red waiting for you there?
No, actually, I didn't. Good line. I'll just complete that tale about the island itself in a minute at the end of the over.
Shaw defends. Apparently,
So it's very small.
Yeah.
There is a hotel on the island which takes up about half of the whole of the island's area, and you can walk the other half in about 20 minutes.
Shaw drives that, hits Harris, no run. He's probably done him out of a run there,
But
at least.
the island itself the hotel itself is quite exclusive. You can wander around the other part of the island, and there is a little, is it a pub? It's probably not quite as much of a pub, called the Pilchard, which is where visitors who just want to go across, walk across on the sand to the island, can go and get a beer or a coffee.
Okay. Shaw plays that out to long on.
It's probably a bar more than anything else, but it's an outside bar, if that makes sense. Not within the grounds of the hotel.
Sounds lovely. Talking of Christa Burr, Steve James, the old Glamorgan batsman, man from Gloucestershire, from Lydney
Yes,
originally.
indeed.
And
Where's this going?
Lancashire used to say that he looked like Chris de Burgh. When he used to come out to bat, they used to sing The Lady in Red from the Slip Cordon. People like Graham Fowler, Neil Fairbrother would be singing The Lady in Red as he was batting away.
Actually, I've got a little story about Jamer. There's going to be a change of bowling here. Ben Rain's coming on to replace Matthew Potts. A lot of people will know that Steve sadly lost his daughter Bethan a couple of years ago.
Terrible
and I
news.
believe that there is a sponsored event taking place this weekend called Bike for Beth to raise money for the charities that he has supported since her passing. So I hope that is going really well. That didn't have to get up much from Ben Rain. It was a bit of a loosener, but it got to Robinson on the second bounce. And also, I heard him speak during the winter, and he was good on the cricket, but when he started talking about his daughter and what his family had been through, you could sense in the room people's attention just went up a notch because of how personal that is. Very good evening that was, to be fair. So I hope that event goes well. Josh Shaw up onto his toes. That was a very straight ball from Rain, back over length when he wished to defend it.
He played it in a very good combined university side that qualified for the quarter-final of the old Benson Hedges Cup back in 1989. It had some really good players in there. Mike Atherton was in that side. Nasser Hussain was in that side. I think John Stevenson was in that side. Rob Turner, the old Somerset wicket-keeper, was in that side. James Boyling played for Surrey, off-spinner. I think he was at Durham as well, Durham Uni.
Rain over the wicket to Shaw. Tries to force it through a gap on the offside. Can't do it. Ajaz Patel is there. Bottom corner of your screen. There's the match position. 217 for 7. The target 426. So 209 more. Durham have got to be patient and repeatable with all their processes, dare we say. Rain in.
Trust the process.
Trust the process. Trust the plan. I'm sure Ryan Campbell, their head coach, is probably... we can't see him with our camera looking at the balcony, but he's probably pretty relaxed about this overall position, because it's not as if Gloucestershire needed 109 from here, they'd probably still be favourites, but it would be a lot tighter call. 109 for Gloucestershire to win would be, the game would still be somewhat on, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Rain in, and again that's kept very low. Robinson's not taken that cleanly on the second bounce, and it will be another bye. But if it's starting to misbehave at both ends, then you definitely want to be in the field at the moment. And it comes back to our chat about why Durham didn't enforce the follow-on. This is exactly the position they wouldn't want to be in, batting on the fourth day when the bounce is at this kind of variation. And that's not in any way a slight on Paul Collett and the rest of the ground staff and Sean Williams who've prepared this pitch, because I think it's done a pretty good job, and actually it's turning on the last day, which is always actually what you want in a 4-day game. 2 sips and a gully for Rain, now at Harris, and he doesn't get a touch to that on the last ball of Rain's return to the attack.
I tell you what, if this did get to...
Would you want to be keeping out there in the situation, Dan?
No, I wouldn't, no. I don't like keeping anyway.
All right.
I've sort of had to do it a couple of times at club level, and you find yourself going into work on the Monday morning walking like John Wayne, you know? It's not great. You use muscles that you didn't know you had doing a bit of wicket keeping. It's your thighs, your quads, your calves, everything. Be interesting though, if Gloucestershire did need 108 and Marcus Harris was at the wicket, this would be a really interesting game of cricket.
Oh, it would be quite tense still.
Yeah.
But Durham still have 208 in the bank.
Yeah, and only 3 wickets left. In fact, that's one bounce from Josh Shaw. I thought he'd put that straight down Alex Lee's throat at long on there. But he got it straight enough.
Again, if he is choosing to attack, he's attacking the shorter boundary, straight towards the pavilion, and then also towards the scoreboard side of the ground.
Yeah, moves into double figures. That's gone. He's got a hold of that one. That's 4 more. That's that shorter boundary Ian Randall just mentioned. Shaw attacking. And the lead now is 200.
So, some spirited resistance, I think you'd call it, from Gloucestershire this morning.
Custer's last stand.
45 minutes. Just the 1 wicket gone.
Patel to Shaw. This time he crunches him through the offside. Great stop in the covers. But he can only parry it, and Shaw
Result
scampers through for 1.
Didn't know where that had gone, I don't think. It was kind of a parry. And Shaw just pick up a single. Baltic was the fielder who completed the job.
It's a good stop, because Shaw nailed that one. Harris getting the feet moving. Can only play that back to Patel. So I wonder if sort of around Northumberland, that's where you get your Craster kippers. That's going to be 1 more to Harris. Moves on to 89. 228 for 7. And a Palmo. Have you ever had a Palmo?
No, that's
a Middlesbrough.
That's a
dish.
Middlesbrough thing.
Yeah.
No, to come back to the old scenario about food from the north, and this isn't meant to be essentially an Ian Randall's holiday blog here, but I went to Berwick-on-Tweed a couple of times for a holiday. Obviously, right on the border.
Tossed up. And Shaw defends. That's 59 overs gone. 228 for 7. Shaw 18. Harris 89. Ian, tell us all about it.
Yeah, so we stayed right on the river, almost right on the River Tweed.
Okay.
And the property we stayed in, the lady clearly was very, very proud of the breakfast that she served, and the stotty, the hinny. They were all available at breakfast on this property, where everybody sat around one large table, and it was absolutely laden with local products. Absolutely marvellous.
Wow.
And the coastline in that part of the world is something else. Pushed out by Harris, not to the beating of George Dressel on the point boundary. I don't mind bleak weather, right? I love this, but I don't mind bleak weather.
Okay.
And if you get bleak in the northeast, it can have actually its own. Is appeal the right word? It's got its own atmosphere about it.
Ambience.
Yes. Rain to Shaw, tries to crunch that through the offside, and he was just underneath it, fortunately. And Harris, I think, may have just said something from the other end to Josh Shaw about that stroke.
But for those from Gloucestershire who don't know what a Palmo is, it's basically a bit of chicken, isn't it, with ham and then cheese melted on top, isn't it? And it's probably responsible for coronary rates going through the roof in the Teesside area. But I had something similar. I'll tell you about it after this ball.
Rain to Shaw, who stands tall and defends.
I went to Porto last October, end of the season. I thought, a few days away with the other half in Porto. And I had this thing called a Francesinha, which is a local dish there. And I'll tell you what this thing is. It is, a heart attack on a plate. And I think it was something like 1,300 calories in them.
For one meal.
Yeah. And it's...
Rain. In again to Shaw. Gets off the bottom of the bat. Doesn't really move his feet too much.
So
and Graham Clark does the fielding.
It's basically a sandwich, but in it has got wet cured ham, linguica, fresh sausage-like, steak, and then it's covered in melted cheese, and then the whole thing is then covered in a hot and thick spiced tomato and beer sauce.
Oh.
And it is heavy, to say the least.
Rain to Shaw again. Stands in his crease and just bounces that out to Graham Clark. Well, hey, our BBC colleague Martin, our colleague Martin Emerson, who does the coverage of Durham on the BBC, had a raclette last night. He posted a picture on Twitter.
He's getting flash in his old age, isn't he? Comes down the south, starts eating dishes like that.
One final point about travel in a moment. Shaw completes the over with a third successive defensive shot. You will notice, by the way, that my parallel between poor phone signals in Devon and bleak weather in the north. I don't mind if I don't see too many people when I go on my holiday. I quite like open space, thanks very much.
Do you?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
The fewer people that are about, the better.
Well, I'm from London, and I just crave that when I go on holiday.
What, space?
Yeah, and away from people.
Yeah. And equally, others who probably live in rural surroundings might say, "Oh, it'd be really great to go to a city, wouldn't it?" No.
No.
Not for me, anyway.
No. Here's Patel. Lived in New Zealand from the age of 8 when his family moved from Mumbai in India. Oh, that's well played by Harris. Just defends that.
That's almost where the ball spat to get Bracey out yesterday.
Yeah, the rough now there is not just footsteps, it's all merged, isn't it? As Harris works him into the onside, can't get that one away.
So you've got Harris coming forward and creating rough by using his feet, and the bowlers follow through.
Oh, that's nearly got through his defences. Harris goes dancing down the wicket. The ball spins sharply. This is the one that Durham want. One of the things I loved about the North East, though, is the sense of humour, and I'll come on to it after this ball from Patel. Oh, where's that one gone? Is that a dropped catch? I think that's missed everything. Has just come off Robinson's pad, hasn't it? Let's have a look.
That's Potts at leg gully to slip there, I think.
It is Potts. We'll have a look at that at the end of the over. It's good over this from Patel. Yeah, one of the things I love is, do you remember Viz magazine, which was a Newcastle creation? And
I wasn't a subscriber.
No.
It won't surprise you to know.
No, it was very amusing. If you're of a certain age and certain generation, you'll remember Viz magazine. That's short and wide. Harris pulls, but can only find Dressel out on the boundary. Not to be confused with Ian's bleak weather in the northeast. That's drizzle. Here we go. Here's this one from Harris. Let's see if he gets anything on this. Oh, he does. It's a drop catch. It's a drop catch. Potts possibly rising too early there at slip. Got to stay low. Once you rise, it's hard to then get back down. But, he has bowled 30 plus overs in this game, so we'll give him a break.
And again, the reaction time when you're so close is very, very short.
Yeah.
And it was a chance that was right by his boots as well. Ben Rain into the attack. Harris. He's going to get 4 for that. That little nudge he's used around his pads has often brought him a single, but he got enough on that out of Patel's range at fine leg, and that takes him to 95. He's not going to get there with a 6, I don't think, that's for sure. Doesn't give you the impression of getting there in the glorious fashion, but a lot of the Gloucestershire players are just out to our left at the moment, perhaps nervously waiting to see whether Harris can get there. Yeah, hits that back down the pitch at Ben Rain and wanders away.
We had Ollie Price on the stream yesterday, and I thought he spoke really well for a lad of 21. I thought, I mean, he's more mature than I am. I mean, that's not saying a lot, Ian, I know that. But I thought he spoke really well. I thought he spoke intelligently, and I thought he was excellent.
Yeah, said he didn't want a Desmond degree. Ben Rain with 4 close catches now. That silly mid-on has come back in. And the short mid-wicket.
Gloucestershire fans will be interested to see there's Grant Rolofsson, who will be in the T20 side here on Friday. Probably play 4-day cricket in the game against Leicestershire. Remember, you can get your T20 tickets available online. The link to buy is in the description. And we've got Glamorgan here on Friday night. The Severn Bridge Derby.
Rain from the Ashley Down road end. A bit of a yelp as Robinson takes that down the leg side, but there was no appeal. You know what I mean by Ollie Price not wanting a Desmond degree, don't you?
I do. A 2-2.
Yeah.
Yes.
He didn't want a 2-2. He wanted a 2-1 or a first, he said.
Yeah. I think he'll get first. I think he's sort of first material, isn't he?
He'd certainly give you that impression.
Great lad.
Harris
really
has
good
been
lad.
out there just about 4 hours now for his 95. Jones and Bellingham still in the slips. Rain pushes one across Harris, which he lets go.
To let you know as well, Ministry of Sound tickets are available online Friday the 28th of July, which is here at the Seat Unique Stadium, and it is going to be a cracking night. General admission tickets are available on the Gloss Cricket website, and you should get yours. And Ian Randall will be raving away all night.
Essex have lost a wicket. Alistair Cook's out at Trent Bridge. Oh, 99 for Sir Alistair Cook today. Neatly played by Harris. He's going to pick up a couple of comfortable runs out to Ajaz Patel in front of the scoreboard. Alistair Cook caught by wicketkeeper Clark off James for 99.
Oh, Joe Clark is wicket keeping a lot for them. It's interesting because he's definitely in the batsman that can don the gloves category as opposed to an out-and-out wicket keeper. And it's interesting to see how Joe Clark has they've gone with that at Nottinghamshire.
That game heading towards a draw here. Bit of a brains trust between Ajaz Patel, Scott Borthwick and Alex Lees, actually. See how they might attack now Josh Shaw.
If Gloucestershire don't lose another wicket, at what point do you think Durham start to panic, Ian? How many runs required? At the moment there's 190 needed still.
I don't think they panic until it's down below 3 figures.
So 99.
Yeah.
Patel to Shaw, who goes back, which is a dangerous game to play.
Still 18 overs with this ball, so we're going to get to just about lunch, I would think, with Gloucestershire not having faced the second new ball. Potentially.
Patel, if it goes that far, yeah. Graham Van Buren is out there having a fitness test as well. He's doing some running with the medical staff. Missed this game with a hamstring strain. Oh, nicely played by Shaw. As Borthwick comes round, does the fielding, keeps them down to a single. Yeah, there's 18 overs left to lunch. We've had about an hour's play.
General consensus from a lot of people, both on the ground this morning and indeed as I left last night, was that Gloucestershire get beyond lunch, then they're probably into sort of bonus territory. That seemed to be the feeling.
Patel over the wicket to Harris, who defends that. A little bit of aerial traffic. Ian Randall's private jet, or Martin Emerson's actually. He's going flying back up later on. Will he be on the 4 o'clock or 8 o'clock though? That is the question. And that's smashed down the ground. That's Harris's 100. Excellent shot. And does that bring him into the Australian side in a few weeks? Really good shot there from Marcus Harris. 101 off 163 balls. And very popular man here in Bristol.
14 fours. And just over 4 hours.
That's done his chances of a recall. No harm whatsoever.
Second century of the summer.
Yep, got one against Glamorgan in the first game, didn't he? Dances down, smothers the spin. That completes the over. I thought his 59 in the first innings against Glamorgan was worth 100 on that wicket.
That was against, well, when Tim van der Hoogten was having some fun with his LBW appeals.
Yeah, he was Van der Hooping it round all over the place, I tell you.
Chris Lingwood's been on the email. As someone from the grim north, he says, it's delightful to hear you gents say something nice about us. Often the other counties cast us as a pasty-flavoured hellscape. Keep up the good work, all the best.
Pasty-flavoured hellscape. Chris, we love you guys. We like the northeast. We like the north.
And actually, it's a shame in a way that the sides haven't played each other more in recent years. Ben Rain from the Ashley Down Road end. Oh, that's a nice shot by Shaw. He's read the bounce of that, which was quite slow to be fair, and he's not say pulled it round, he's just helped it round the corner down to the boundary at fine leg for 4 more.
Do you remember a few years ago the Australians stayed at Lumley Castle when they played at Durham? And I think it was Shane Watson was so scared because he saw a ghost in the night. Do you remember that he had to go and sleep in a teammate's room? And the following day, Darren Gough has gone like this. He's gone, whoa, giving him the ghoulie.
Well, I think David Fenwick's photo says that not all the north is grim, to be fair.
No.
And I think Chris firmly tongue-in-cheek there. There are some very, very picturesque parts of the northeast.
As there are in Gloucestershire. When's the cheese rolling?
Well, the cheese rolling doesn't really happen now. Not that it shouldn't do. Here's. So I think that.
Is that health and safety coming?
Yeah, it used to happen on the Whit Bank holiday. So along with the Woolsack race at Tetbury, and those are the main 2 sort of quirky events. But that is a very steep drop on that hill just outside Cheltenham. I've stood at the top, I tell you. Here's Shaw on the bounce into the gully. Good stop by Alex Lee.
He's reading about it here. Apparently it used to be a fertility ritual.
I have stood at the top of that hill, but unknowingly actually, about 5 or 6 weeks ago, before the season started, friends of mine and I went on a walk, and we got to this particular point, and Rob pointed down and said, "By the way, that's the cheese rolling slope." I thought, "Is it? Well, phew, after you." Here's
Apparently,
rain again down the leg side.
apparently the cheese can reach speeds of up to 70 miles an hour.
And you get 3,000 people either side of that slope, and all sorts of injuries have happened.
Yeah, it's a 1 in 2 gradient, and the course is 200 yards long, and you win the cheese. The first one down to the bottom wins the cheese.
It is properly crackers, if you pardon the pun.
There's a chap called Chris Anderson, who's from Brockworth, first competed in 2004 at the age of 17, where he came second.
Rain, again to Shaw, tries the Yorker, and Shaw drops on it. Can't force it past the bowler or the short mid-on.
But he's won 22 races, this guy, Chris Anderson.
I mean, you really have to sort of park any common sense if you take part in that.
There's a men's race and a ladies' race. I mean, you've got to be mad to run down a steep hill.
Rain in again. Shaw waits for the ball to come to him. Plays a little nudge out onto the leg side to delayed it. No ball. Drops the target down below 180. 247 for 7. Shaw's got 23. Shaw's made 60 runs in this match without being dismissed.
You know what? He's a tough cricketer, Josh Shaw. He doesn't give it away, does he?
Another field change. Lees is coming from gully to... Is he going to go to the short straight mid-off? Yes. It's more a very, very short mid-wicket. Rain over the wicket to Shaw, who plays a tennis ball smash at that, and he bangs it straight into the ground to Delayder up square leg. He could have probably hit it anywhere he wanted to, but he's conscious of keeping it down. He didn't get any profit out of it. These two have put on 45 for the 8th wicket. And they're keeping Durham honest out there. And to come back to Marcus Harris's line at the close last night, we've got to get some overs into Potts and Rain, and then see what happens after that. So if they're clearly just going to rotate those two, you would feel, unless Borthwick thinks that either he or Delayder, for something, particularly Borthwick himself, for something a bit different, might be able to just unlock a stand with one of the batsmen being a tail ender.
Patel to Harris, who just plays that one casually down to Alex Lees at long on, finding the gap perfectly between the bowler and short mid wicket, and comes through for an easy single. I was noticing a pub on the outskirts of Durham called the Honest Lawyer, which is an oxymoron in itself, isn't it?
Who were you talking about yesterday who studied at Durham? Oh, Ollie Price was at Durham Uni, obviously. And was Tom at Durham?
Tom was at Durham
yeah.
as well, Tom Price. That's down the ground. Oh, and I thought he'd picked out long on there, but Shaw beats Lees. And that's 4 more. Takes him on to 27 now. To add to his 37 not out in the first innings. And that brings up the 250.
I used the word I used earlier. It's kind of resilient, defiant, stubborn resistance, isn't it?
Yeah.
At the moment.
Patel to Shaw, who plays that into the offside. There's been a few cricketers who played for both sides, hasn't there? For Durham and for Gloucestershire.
Yeah, Borthwick.
David Graveney.
Baltic just having a bit of a limber himself here.
Paul van Makeren played for both. Paul Remains play at Durham as well.
Yes, I think so.
Human. Great nickname. Short, and Shaw pulls that. He was looking to get that a little squarer, but he can only pick out Alex Lees at long on.
Marcus North himself, of course.
Of course, yeah. Yeah. Phil Bainbridge?
Yes, Phil Bainbridge, yeah, good call.
Patel coming over the wicket to Marcus Harris. Ooh. Oh, is that a mis-stumping? He got some bat on it.
By Robinson's reaction, I think he thinks it is.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, if you had 3 stumpings in the second innings of a game and you're trying to defend it, you know, but I get why he's going down the pitch as well. He's looking to negate that rough.
And the weird thing is that the stumpings that Robinson has had in the match have been really quite unorthodox. One went off the pads, one sort of dribbled through by his bootstraps and he picked up and broke the stumps. We haven't had one where you'd say, you know, the ball has genuinely beaten the bat outside off stump and he's taken the bails off.
Yep. Keep your emails coming into us. If you've taken part in the cheese rolling event in Gloucestershire, we want to hear from you. If you're still alive, that is. There's our email address, commentators@glossccc.co.uk. Send us your photos. As long as they're clean, we'll publish them.
Yes, Graham van Buren and I think Marchant de Long are out there having a
And if you've got any
little bit of work.
If you've got any little local things like the cheese rolling in the northeast, let us know about them. But we don't want to hear from any Morris dancers.
So 2 men now on the leg side, really for the miscue here from Josh Shaw. And he's also got 2 more behind square. That's outside off stump and he lets it go. So he's got a man at fine leg 3 parts of the way to the boundary. And he's got a deep backward square again, probably a good 20 yards in from the rope. So there's a single to either of those 2. And then the men saving one are Alex Lees, who's just in front of square at square leg, and a short mid wicket as well. I think Graham Clark's got the pads on there underneath his trousers still. Rain to Shaw. Tries the pull. He's got that accurately past the finer of those 2 men, and he's got 4 for it. That's well judged. Shaw into the 30s.
Up at Nottingham, Essex are leading by 87 runs, 231 for 2. Obviously the game between Hampshire and Northants finished yesterday, and the game between Kent and Surrey and Somerset and Middlesex finished yesterday, as did the game at Worcester between Worcestershire and Leicestershire. So the game at Glamorgan looks... Glamorgan are now 554 for 6.
So still 6 down then.
They're leading by nearly 200 runs. Durham fans will be interested in that because Sussex are right on their tails at the top of Division 2.
Rain in. That's a bouncer over Shaw's left shoulder, which he lets go. I wonder if Glamorgan feel there's enough in that pitch that they could potentially tease Sussex with a target, or if it's just too flat, they might think, well, we're just going to bat until you bowl us out, because we don't want to give away a draw, even if there are only 5 points available. Rain into Shaw, who from the crease again pushes it out on the offside, fielded by Patel.
Hove can be very, very flat. As can Cardiff. It can go very flat at Cardiff, can't it? It can be a bowler's graveyard.
Bear in mind, Sussex don't have Robinson at the moment, so that is possibly going to make taking those last 4 wickets really quite difficult. Ben Rain, shaven head and bearded, but banging another short one in there, which Shaw gets out of the way of. 55 this partnership is worth. 15 or 14 overs and 1 ball to a second new ball. 169 is the target, and just to be clear, that to chase this sort of total is unprecedented. I say chase, Gloucestershire aren't really chasing it. They don't need to chase it in terms of the runs. In terms of run rate, was that a no ball? No, not given as such. Look, might well have been a wide, but not given as either by umpire Mark Newell. Rain takes his hat and walks away. 45 minutes to lunch, and 169 in 76 overs. As you see, the run rate required is very, very modest. It's all about the wickets column.
I don't want to get excited yet, Ian.
Oh no, not yet. No, but
I don't want to get excited yet. My life has been a litany of disappointments.
what I think more than one person said, quote, "It's the hope that kills you."
Indeed. Patel to Harris, who defends. As long as Harris is at the crease,
how many
there
would
will
he
be that chink of light for Gloucestershire supporters.
He's got to get at least another 50.
That's tossed up. Harris can't time that.
You would think. Looking at, in fact, he might have to get another 100 almost.
Yeah, he does. He needs a double 100. Defended.
Would you, and we're still 14 overs from this situation, you'd have to take the second new ball, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Even if Patel had it?
Yeah, I'd give it to Patel, because I think it just turns faster, it spins faster. And that will be Durham's trump card. Quicker ball, defended into the onside. 257 for 7.
There isn't much happening for the quicker bowlers, is there?
No.
From that far end.
169 needed. Oh, that's well played by Harris. Rides the bounce there. That's spat out of the rough. And he just gets on top of it. Rode the bounce. Didn't push too hard at the ball. Played that really well. All his experience there as an international cricketer coming to the fore. Patel, Harris plays him out to Alex Lees at long on.
Doesn't feel as if...
And Lees almost threw it over the head of Ollie
Doesn't
Robinson.
feel as if Shaw's faced much of Patel in the last 15 minutes or so.
No.
And this Gloucestershire pair might be quite happy about that. They started 181 for 6. So
I'll be happy if we get to lunch, Ian. 43 minutes to lunch.
77 added this morning for the loss of 1 wicket. Is it salad today, do you know?
I don't know. I don't know.
We'll find out at the appropriate time. More chat about the field.
I'd like a good old-fashioned Sunday roast.
Would
that's
you?
What, yeah, that's what I'm craving. Bit of roast beef, bit of mustard.
You craved a curry last night. Is that
I
right?
got one. I got a curry. Family curry, where I stay down in a little village called Winscombe.
Right, so more funky fielding from Durham. Scott Borthwick's got his 3 men on the leg side again. So a leg gully, and then in front of square, 2 short mid wickets and a silly mid on. Down the leg side from Rain, unsurprisingly, and Robinson just stops it. Could easily gone for 4 byes, that. Yes, Josh Shaw's 32 is the 3rd top score. Only Bracey and his partner Harris ahead of him. So we're now going to have one man in front of square on the offside for Ben Rain. Tressel's coming down to a very fine leg. Rain to Harris, that again is down the leg side. Robertson doesn't take it cleanly. That's the precise reason why Dressel is there, and they'll take one more. Basically Durham only using 3 bowlers to try and see this victory out. Paul Coghlan injured yesterday, went off with, might have been a side strain, might have been a back strain. He's not on the field today, and Deleda and Borthwick have not yet had a bowl, but I wonder whether Borthwick might, particularly before the new ball. Rain to Shaw, again leg side.
This isn't very good bowling here.
For the first time in the game, you can say that Durham just scrabbling a bit for another breakthrough.
Marshall de Lange just having a little chat with a couple of the staff from Durham.
We'll hope to be involved in the T20, of course.
Lovely bloke, isn't he, Marshall?
Rain trying to negotiate his way through all that dust at the far end of the ground. Bangs another one in quite short, which again Shaw defends. I mean, there wasn't a huge amount of pace in this pitch, and I think anything that has been short today has sort of almost sat up like I used the phrase tennis ball bounce earlier, but you know, it is almost like a slow bounce, isn't it? Where you can read it and get out of the way if you want to. Short leg's gone back in. Rain running towards our commentary position, and again the bouncer. You don't take wickets if you don't bowl at the stumps.
No.
That's what most young coaches would say.
So,
coaches would say to young players, as you were.
If Durham had enforced the follow-on, the score would now be 106 in the lead to Gloucestershire.
Very short by Rain, and so short it got to Robinson on the second bounce. Just to emphasise, there really is no pace left in this pitch. If I was Borthwick, I think I'd be thinking about bowling myself.
Yeah, I would as well.
Here, because yes, the leg spinner might go for 8 and over, as he did yesterday, but he got a wicket, and in fact here he is.
Yeah, I heard one Gloucestershire fan saying, well, he doesn't turn it for England, but seems he only played one test for England, and that was back in 2014. I thought it was possibly a tad harsh on the Durham skipper.
Right, some emails to get through. But maybe not during Borthwick's though, because not too straightforward. We'll try and do the one from Stephen Ransom. Cameron Bancroft and Will Gidman, he says, also played, of course, for Durham and Gloucestershire. Paul Remains' his time was when Durham were a minor county. Kind regards. Good point, Stephen.
Is Borthwick then? He's going to come between the umpire and the stumps. short, and that's gone down the leg side. Harris lets that one go. It's fashionable to come around the umpire now, not come between the umpire and the stumps, isn't it? But Borthwick going old school here. So Harris plays that into the offside, and they scamper through for a single.
Our friend John Gordon says, I can guarantee this email will take a wicket. I've just packed Benny, Sully and I lunch. We're about to head to the ground.
Lovely family, aren't they? Lovely family, the Gordons.
And Peter Downey on the email says, dear both, Northumbrian and Durham members here, Northumbrian Durham member here, listening and watching from Umbria.
What, in Italy? Was that Northumbria?
Thanks for the Northumbrian travelogue, he says, and for your efforts over the past 4 days.
Defended by Shaw. What's he saying? Light. He said, excellent job, light.
Mellifluous.
Mellifluous style, but with cricket-focused info. Most of the time. Shades of Brian Johnson with your cakes.
Thanks for the Northumbrian travelogue.
Oh, that's not bounced as high as Shaw, but he gets it away. I'm going to have to look up what mellifluous means.
I knew that was coming. Why did I know that was coming?
Pleasingly smooth and musical to hear. That's Ian Randall's dulcet West Country tones as Shaw just defends that into the offside.
Got the impression yesterday that Borthwick was more dangerous to the left-handers.
Yeah, he was.
So
chucking it into the rough, or bowling it.
May have a little less to work with a straighter line.
Pleasantly driven by Shaw. Can only find the Durham skipper though, who fields it off his own bowling. 260 for 7. Shaw's on 32. Harris 104. 69 overs have gone. There's 11 to the new ball. And there are, more importantly, 34 minutes to lunch.
Just looking at Patel's figures, 26 overs, 4 maidens, 3 for 88. So he's bowled 55 overs in the game.
That's a lot.
Yeah, drinks just being brought out for the 2 batsmen. The other rest of the bowling figures, Potts 17 overs, 4 maidens, 2 for 47.
Who's that 12th man? Is that Luke Charles? Was it Tom Lace? Tom Lace with a dyed blonde do. Great to see him back in action. I thought there was a piece written in the week with Sporting Chance which was absolutely...
So forgive me, was that done from an interview with him, or did he write that piece himself? He wrote it himself, Jack says. Fair play to him for doing so then. Rain staying in the attack for the moment. Clipped by Harris through the gap. There is a man...
And, you know, we love Tom Lace here. He's always been great with the media team. I think he's always been really good to us. His mum even baked us a cake last year, Ian.
That was at Cheltenham, wasn't it?
No, he was here for the game against Yorkshire, I think, or Somerset, I can't remember.
Rain into Shaw. Again, down the leg side. And Robertson takes them.
But I just hope Tom's all right as a bloke. Never mind cricket. Just as a bloke, I hope he's all right, because he's a lovely, lovely guy.
There has been a lot written about mental health in cricket and how some players have had support through the PCA, and perhaps it may have touched other counties, but it certainly had an impact here. I'll just expand on that after this ball from Ray, which is pulled from Shaw into the leg side. He'll get one. Didn't get up a great deal. So, and I think so Lace, I think, would be the third example of a Gloucestershire player who probably within the dressing room scenarios has had his teammates sort of have a bond with him because of what they've been through. The first was Gareth Roderick, and the second was Tom Smith. Yeah. And now you've got Tom Lace. Yeah. All, personal situations away from cricket which have impacted on their cricket.
Well, It's
Gareth obviously now at Worcestershire. Tom Smith still here. Expect to see him in the T20.
yeah. But no, Tom Lace, we love you, mate. We love you. The fans love him here. The staff at the club love Tom Lace, and he's very much a part of the Gloucestershire family.
Still just this one fielder in front of square on the offside, with the 3 close catches in front of square on the leg side. Rain to Harris, he's too experienced to fall for that, and just pushes it up to mid-off. Durham would have hoped to have had more inroads than 1 wicket by now, I would have thought. 164. The one thing is that the runs appear to just to have dried up a little bit, though.
They have, but you know, Durham want to get those wickets.
Yeah, the time and runs equation is not a problem for Gloucestershire. That was very slow. It's a slow bounce outside the off-stump. Harris went to stretch for it. It's got an ugly shot.
He has got a huge arc on the offside at the moment. He's just got a slip and a mid-off, and Harris could have put that absolutely anywhere, and he'll probably be pretty annoyed that he's missed out there.
But he's got to compartmentalise each ball here, isn't he?
Yeah.
As indeed they both have. Glamorgan have lost a wicket at Hove. 579 for 7. They lead by 221.
At what stage do you think that gets too big a chase for Sussex?
I
say at lunch.
I think
260.
Yes, I think probably for me, probably 270 is about as many as they would want to go for.
Yeah.
Even if it is flattening out.
Borthwick to Shaw. Shaw lets that one go.
Let's see who that wicket was, because Kieran Carlson was heading towards a double 100. Chris Cook is the man out for 45. So it's Nisa and Von der Houston who are in for Glamorgan at the moment.
Good Welsh lads.
192 Kieran Carlson made.
Short, Shaw pulls, and that's going to go all the way into the mound stand, and that is 6 runs. Shaw goes past the 37 he got in the first innings and moves on to 39.
Bear in mind, 42 is his career best.
Yeah. It deserved what it got, though. It was half tracker from Borthwick. And that's driven pleasantly. He's going to get just the one there. That goes out to George Drissell, out on the deep cover boundary, and Shaw moves into the 40s. Borthwick left Durham in 2017 after they were relegated due to that decision by the ECB, which we've been through. We've been there the other day. Harris just turns that one around the corner. That's one more to his total, moves on to 106. But he returned back to the county. He left with Mark Stoneman, also went to Surrey, didn't he, from Durham at the same time. And when it's 2 out of your top 3 like that, you can see why Durham were decimated. Here's Borthwick to Shaw, who resolutely defends that one into the offside. 270 for 7, 70 overs gone, 10 till the new ball is due. And
68,
Gloucestershire,
yeah, 68 for this partnership.
Gloucestershire need 156 more to win.
And I'll tell you
What
somebody
would be
who's going to be following this play really intently. Our good friend Ed Seaborn, because he's on commentary duty this afternoon for the Western Storm against the Thunder down at Taunton. And if Ed's got to commentate on that game, with this game still in progress, I imagine he's going to be torn between 2 computer screens.
rather peeved. I mean, it would be a dramatic victory. It really would.
Break all kinds of records. But Deleda is going to be introduced for the first time today from the Ashley Down Road end. That was probably Rain's first poor spell, I would say. There wasn't much in that last spell of his. Deleda to Harris, who lets that go. It didn't get up very much.
No, it didn't get up very much at all. Jack Longstaff and I just gave each other a little bit of a look. You know, I think Harris knows what he's doing there, but...
So I wonder if this is...
No, it's fine.
But this could be Borthwick and Deleda up to the new ball here.
Yeah.
Provided Durham don't leak too many. I mean, they've still got 156 to play with, but they wouldn't want to ship another, say, 30 this side of lunch.
Well, Coughlin's out. It presents an issue for them, doesn't it? Because really you're relying on Borthwick, who's a part-time bowler these days. Deleda only bowled 3 overs in the first innings, so, you know, I think they use him as a partnership breaker. I mean, he's still a decent one. He got Johnny Bairstow out last week.
So they're really, it's Potts, Rain and Patel.
Exactly. So, you know, and...
But having that second new ball up their sleeve is another card in another ace card in the pack, isn't it, potentially?
Yeah, I mean, if Harris goes, it's game over anyway.
Deleda to Shaw, comes across his stumps.
Yeah, if Harris goes now, it's, you know, the end is nigh, isn't it?
Probably.
You
But
know,
you know,
you
Josh
might as well
Shaw's batted for an hour and 10 minutes here.
Yeah. Remember those guys on...
6 4s and a 6.
Ian, do you remember those guys back in the day outside football grounds who wear sandwich boards around their neck with the end is nigh written on it? What was all that about?
Pleasant shot. Up ground from Shaw. The other thing, and that's going back a long way, the other thing I do remember, and I don't know whether one still exists in the northeast, somebody might tell us, was the sports paper on a Saturday evening.
Pinken.
The equivalent of a Pinken or a green.
The Greenan.
Greenan, I think.
Yeah.
It was pink where I was.
I think that Pinken was a Birmingham thing, wasn't it?
Short from Deleda. Yes, that was called the Sports Argus.
Yeah, and in the days before, you know, mobile phones, etc., I mean, you could get your sports results through, you know, the radio, obviously. But if you wanted match reports, it was your only way of getting a match report on a Saturday evening before the Sunday morning papers came out. Good memory, Ian.
Deleda with 2 slips in the gully, fairly standard field, and Shaw just clips that away from right in front. He tried to be yorked again. He's got a single out to Alex Lees. It's the end of the over, and Shaw will keep the strike. He's on to 41, so only 1 run short of a career best. He has a quick punch of the gloves with Harris and a chat. I'm sure that Harris is just trying to keep Shaw going here, keep his concentration, because batting at 9, 10 and 11, you'd not often out there for an hour in this sort of scenario.
I think Josh Shaw has shown a lot of character in this game. He's been 12th man quite a bit this season, and I thought he's bowled reasonably well. I mean, he got a bit of collar yesterday, but everyone got collared, didn't they? But I thought he's shown a lot of heart, a bit of ticker, a bit of character, and definitely with the bat, with his 37 not out in the first innings, and now 41 in the second innings. And if you know, you can get nearly 100 runs out of your number 9. That's a hell of a performance.
You might have said that when he came in, there wasn't a great deal of intensity on him because Gloucestershire was so far behind in the game, but he's now gotten to a stage where it's just teetering on the brink of interesting now.
Borthwick to Shaw, who gets forward
in
and
a way, probably Shaw wouldn't want lunch Well, so he might want lunch, but he won't want lunch to break his concentration.
I know Josh, he'll want lunch.
Yeah.
He'll want lunch. Borthwick around the wicket to Shaw, who...
Most pace bowlers want lunch, don't they?
Oh, yeah. And he's a Yorkshireman. He'll want a free lunch.
He's a very uncomplicated cricketer, Josh Shaw.
That's well bowled and well played. Ian, do you think the pitch is flattening out a little bit?
Well, this is with an old ball here. That's the one thing you would say, is that I think it was 46 overs they bowled with it last night.
Yeah.
And
It's how it behaves with the new one, isn't
yeah,
it?
that may be the greater challenge.
Yeah.
Durham are probably going to get there with about maybe 130 runs to play with.
Borthwick around the wicket. Shaw gets a thick outside edge. I think he's just going to get one there. Yeah, they settle on one.
Yeah, he's in a sense, initially we thought it was Harris protecting the tail, but now you wonder whether Shaw in to some degree is protecting his senior batsman from the greater strife of facing the leg break bowler into that rough.
Yeah. Borthwick's going to continue around the wicket to the left-hander. That's spun sharply, but Harris gets outside the line and covers it. Good contest this. Really is a good contest. And I'll tell you what, if these two can put on another 50 runs, it gets seriously interesting. Harris whips him down to deep backward square. Shaw's equalled his career best, and Harris, that's 42 by the way, Harris on 108, 274 for 7, 73 overs gone, so 7 till the new ball, and just under 20 minutes to Josh Shaw's lunch break.
Do continue dropping us your emails. We do welcome them on this day. Probably some of you thought that you were going to be off out this afternoon with the cricket having finished. You might have to change your plans after you've done the washing up. 152. See, 152 in 2 sessions is as nothing on the final day.
No, it's those wickets column.
But it's the wickets column. And I would think Zuman Akhtar is probably quite a nervous young man at the moment, potentially at number 10. Here is Deleda to Harris. That's a lovely shot. He's pitched that up, and Harris has driven it out of the reach of Alex Lees. Oh, has he stopped it right on the rope?
Fielding.
That's a really good bit of work. They're going to get 3 anyway, and that's well run, and a good stop from Lees on running at full tilt towards the boundary rope. He's not done himself the greatest bit of work there by probably getting a bruise in the morning from that tumble.
Top cricket all round there. Glorious shot from Marcus Harris through the covers. Alex Lee throws himself out there, saves 1 run and nearly runs out Josh Shaw with a sharp return into Ollie Robinson. These two sides have gone at each other for the last 3 days, and they're still going at each other.
Target down below 150. Shaw tries to punch that past mid-off, can't do it. Stop from
no ball.
Oh, no ball too. Sun-hatted figure of Ben Rain. Gloucestershire started today 181 for 6. So they've added 98 for the loss of Matt Taylor. Harris has got his 100, which I think is kind of the subplot that a lot of people were talking about on the way into the ground this morning. And Shaw on a career best 42 not out. Ducks under a bouncer from Deleda. 17 minutes to lunch.
Gloucestershire just want to come into lunch unscathed.
Yeah, that's the next little port of call on this, I say use the word chase, but this journey, if you like, towards, well, unknown plot really. Shaw gets his career best score, down to George Dressel. Will they come back for two? Call of no. So Josh Shaw now has more runs in a first-class innings than he's ever made before.
Jack Longstaff just said to me, he's getting a little bit nervous. I'm getting a little bit nervous. Ian Randall is positively quaking.
No, I mean, I think I think as I said earlier, for me, Durham only get nervous if it gets down below 100. Then it really starts, and you start to turn the pressure around. Harris again guides that. That could be 4 more. It will be. Deleda has strayed down the leg side, and Harris has just picked that off again. And that well-known chocolatey refreshment, which you can sometimes use in connection with cricket, other bars are available, would show a lot of lines down behind square on the leg side. Come on, Dan.
Ah, yes. Yes.
That marshmallow in the middle, isn't it? Delayed it again to Harris, who tries to just pinch a single, but he can't do it. It's a bit too straight, that little push into the offside, fielded by Potts, who must be being held back here. Durham are just trying to get to the second new ball.
Yeah, the new ball's crucial.
Without leaking too many more.
The new ball is match defining.
I'll tell you what, it looks a good declaration now by Durham, doesn't it? Do you not think?
Yeah, it is.
Harris, that might be 4. It's another chase for Lees. Will he haul that in? I don't think he will. Lead a dive or a bit of footwork.
Oh, he's done it again.
Done a bit of both, and he's just about stopped it away on the cover boundary, and they'll take a comfortable 3.
Brilliant work by Lees.
2 long chases for him in this over. Harris to 118, as you can see, from 189 balls faced. Josh Shaw's 43. Now a career best for him. Zuman Akhtar and Ajit Singhdale are the 2 remaining batsmen. And I wonder if Patel's coming back. This may be something really simple to say, but I wonder whether his bowling hand and his spinning fingers just needed a break.
Straight bowler, Bristol Billionaires are wearing number 26, AJ Patel.
287 for 7.
Patel.
Gloucestershire haven't quite passed the first innings score yet, but that's been the pattern, hasn't it, in recent times? Bigger score second innings than first, but
yeah,
they still need 5 more.
Patel to Harris. He just turns that one just backward of square on the leg side, and they trot through for an easy single.
Now Patel to Shaw. Where's the cover on the leg side here for the slow left arm? Well, they haven't got a man at long on. Michael Jones is dropping back.
Just had an announcement from the club that entrance will be free after lunch. So come down here. It is a cracking finish. If you're in the Bristol area or even further afield, here's a cracking finish lined up here at the Seat Unique Stadium. Come down, come and support Gloucestershire, come and have a beer. The sun is out, it's a gorgeous day, and what a wonderful finish. So come down, entrance is free after lunch.
Still only 2 men in what you might call positions for the aggressive shot for Patel on the leg side.
Patel in, Shaw just works him into the onside, just ticks another one off that total. 137 required now. Can they get through to lunch unscathed? 12 minutes to go. Harris gets down the track, smothers the spin.
2:45 felt a very, very long way at the start of the day's play, didn't it?
137 is still a very long way with only 3 wickets in hand. It's still Harris just whips Patel down to Dressel at long on. It's still a long way. I mean, you know, Durham are 90% favourites, but that 10% is increasing with every run that these two chip away.
And I would be less concerned about Harris starting again after a break than I would be, and this is no difference to Josh Shaw really, because he's done a great job here, but it's an unusual scenario for him to be faced with, and to start again after lunch with a new ball due is a challenge up from where he is
Chel's
at the
going to
minute.
go over the wicket at him, and he's gone. Shaw has gone. Has he? He's standing there. Yes, he's gone. Caught at slip. Caught by Potts. And the change of bowling there, bringing Patel back, who picks up his 4th wicket.
He's just tapped his head or his helmet against his bat.
Valiant effort though from Josh Shaw. Really good effort. Showed a lot of heart, showed a lot of grit, a lot of character. And he deserves a warm round of applause.
Sometimes in situations like this, when one wicket goes, sometimes a couple of others can go quite quickly. So Shaw trudges off, and Zaman Akhtar comes out at number 10. And interesting, something I think that...
Here's the wicket. Let's have a look at it.
Sorry, Dan.
That spans sharply.
And he almost... That look upwards was, goodness me, what am I supposed to do about that?
Yeah.
Kind of, I can't play that.
Some Akhtar into the crease on a king pair.
Now, I forget who I had this conversation with concerning someone playing in his first game and batting at 10 rather than 11, about whether you actually almost give him the insurance policy of not being the last man. If you feel that Singdale actually might be able to hold an end up, don't give him the pressure of feeling that when he goes the match is over.
Yeah.
I think it's you know, not the worst idea, that.
Yeah, the game is over now. He's off the king pair. Moves that one into the offside.
Got 8 minutes. If it's 9 down, they can play half an hour on, can't they? Can
I
play an
believe so.
extra
Or
8
can you
overs.
not on the 4th day because lunch is
Oh,
set?
that's a good point.
I don't think you can on the 4th day. I think lunch is set, isn't it?
They're going to bring Potts back, are they? Yes, looks like Potts is going to be recalled.
Yeah, I mean, they probably just want, they might even want a break, you know. Durham might just want to regroup, refocus.
But that's...
You know, they'd have liked more wickets this morning, but 2 will suffice. And 2 in the afternoon session. Job done. Playing back to the northeast.
Plane? Well,
Train?
No,
Coach?
Coach. I've followed the bus in on a couple of mornings.
Ah, yeah. So back to the northeast.
They've been staying just
Happy
outside
days.
the city on the A38, I believe.
Yeah.
So, but Gloucestershire have made them work this morning
Certainly have.
for these last 4 wickets. And Potts is back into the attack.
Harris whips him through down to fine leg, and doesn't seem to want to protect Akhtar. So Akhtar's going to face 5 balls from the man named this week in the England squad.
Yeah, bonus points so far in the game. Durham have 7 and Gloucestershire have 4. So Durham looks like they're going to extend their lead, although what happens down at Hove will impact a bit on that. Glamorgan's still 7 down, 240 in front. 3 wickets, 3 second innings wickets in hand. There'll still be a chase there if they really want to be aggressive themselves.
Yeah.
If neither want to draw, then could still be a good finish. Right, Zaman Akhtar to face Potts for the first time. And he does well to get in line and pushes that out on the leg side. There's that thing that even the lower order batters at this level, there aren't too many these days who genuinely can't hold a bat. Bring a slip out. Alex Lees is coming to short mid-wicket, I think. Or is he going to go to a more mid-wicket than a silly mid-on, really? Short catching mid-wicket. Potts to Akhtar, a bit jumpily, but he gets everything behind that. So the wickets to fall this morning for Gloucestershire. They started 181 for 6. Matt Taylor, LBW to Ajaz Patel for 12 when the score was 202. So they added 21 at that stage, and then a stand of 88 with Josh Shaw. And Zaman Akhtar is bowled by Potts. Off stump, knocked back, quicker straight one. And I'm afraid it's a pair for the young debutant, and Durham now need 1 wicket to win this game. Not unexpected.
No, Marcus Harris looks like he's possibly going to carry his bat here. It's been a tremendous innings. Just to get this in quickly, there's a champagne breakfast from the Cotswolds and North Wiltshire region of the sort of members group here, and they're inviting people to a champagne breakfast on Sunday 11th of June. That's the opening day of the Leicestershire game for 9:15 for a 9:30 start there. The game starts at 11 o'clock. It's in the Grace Room downstairs at the Bristol Pavilion, and come along and enjoy a delicious breakfast. There's the wicket, and he's just missed a straight one, really.
Ajit Singh Dale then out to join Harris at number 11.
3 minutes to lunch.
Durham still have, if they need it, a second new ball. They bowled Gloucestershire out actually first time round in the 80th over. They didn't need it first time.
No.
But if they need it second time, then it'll be up their sleeve after the break. But I say they are 9 down.
You do wonder whether it's going to be 292 in each innings for Gloucestershire.
Potts to Singh Dale, oh, in the air, but safely past the 2 fielders in short on the onside. Rain won't be able to haul that in, and that will go all the way up to the boundary for 4. So they have again passed the first innings score in the second innings.
Yeah, they have, and that's thanks to sort of spirited efforts from James Bracey and Josh Shaw supporting this wonderful 121 from Marcus Harris.
His other 100 this year was the 148 down at Sapphire Gardens. Patel has 4 for 91, and Potts has 3 wickets, hunting a 4th, but Singdale can keep him out. That is the end of a successful over for Potts, and Durham on the cusp of what for them will be an historic win. And I should say at this juncture, we always say we're humbled by the emails we get from not only locally but from visiting supporters, Gloucestershire supporters overseas. It just tells us that you have a strong interest in the club and in county cricket, and whether they be for Gloucestershire matters or for the opposition, we try and call the game fairly, and we appreciate the work that James Healy and Jack Longstaff do on the cameras to bring the game to you as well. So I hope it just adds to your enjoyment of this long form game which we all like so much.
Yeah, and thanks to all our friends up in the northeast as well for sending us some canny emails, man.
Yeah, they've been a canny team this week.
They have been a canny team. Here's a canny bowler in Ajaz Patel. Oh, Harris goes reversing.
I think he's allowed a scruffy shot now and again, having been out there for as long as he has been.
Well, yeah. Patel in. Harris whips him to deep mid wicket, where Potts does the fielding. Is that Potts? No,
It's Delader, I think.
Delader. It is Delader.
So
296 for 9. Harris 122. Now the Vultures will encircle Ajit Singh Dale, ready for that bat pad chance.
So in the live table, with bonus points only in this match in it, Durham 89, Sussex 71.
So
If
that would
that's
put them on
Sussex
105 if Durham win this, which is inevitable. That's 34 clear.
And then Sussex could have 5 potentially to add.
Patel in. Ajit Singh Dale gets hold of that one, and that goes over the top, and that is 4 runs, brings up the 300. Will he make lunch? 3 balls left. It's a rather cavalier attitude to take in the last over before lunch.
Well, there's very little to lose now, you would think.
Patel throws one up, and that's gone. That's the end of the game. Singh Dale is caught at cover. Ajaz Patel has 5 wickets in the game, and Durham extend their lead at the top of the table.
Delader with the catch, and Ajaz Patel has 10 wickets in the match. 5 for 113 in the first innings, and now another 5 in the second. The players shake hands. Durham win by 125 runs, and it proves tactically that they got that call absolutely right when they decided to bat on, despite a sterling effort from Marcus Harris carrying his bat for 122. They've actually won quite comfortably, really, overall.
They certainly have, and they look a very good side. Here we go. Here's the final wicket. Threw it a little bit wider, and Durham wrap up a well-deserved win, and they've been fantastic. They really have been a good side, and I've been extremely impressed by them this week.
Marcus Harris leads the players off, raises his bat for his 122, and Ajaz Patel will lead Durham in. he having finished with 5 for 96, so he's taken 10 for 209 in the match. Now that sounds a lot of runs to concede, but equally he's got through an awful lot of work over these 2 Gloucestershire innings. He's bowled 29 overs in the first innings and 27.4 in the second. So when you're a bowler down, you've got to look to your top quality spinner to help and to ease the workload on your quicker bowlers, and he's done that admirably on a pitch which ultimately has performed much as you want a 4-day pitch to do. When it gets to this stage on the 4th day, you like to see it spinning and making life awkward for batsmen, because it just makes for good cricket to watch.
I think it's been a fantastic game of cricket. I really do. I think it's been 2 very good sides. Gloucestershire can take a little bit of heart out of the way they played. There's been some mistakes there, but I think Ben Charlesworth 71 in the first innings, Marcus Harris with nearly 200 runs in the game. And I thought Ajit Singh Dale bowled well again. Zafar Gahar picked up 6 wickets in the game. Gloucestershire, haven't disgraced themselves here by any means, but they've just been outclassed by what looks like a very strong Durham side.
Yeah, we've had over 1,200 runs in the match in 2 sessions short of our full allocation, so I don't think that can cause too many issues over feelings over the way the wickets performed. But the story here then this morning is that Durham have in the end wrapped up victory 445 and 272 for 4 declared, Gloucestershire 292 and 300 all out. Marcus Harris unbeaten on 122, 5 wickets for Ajaz Patel, 10 in the match. There's the full details on your screen. Hope you enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Thanks to Dan for his company, thanks to you for yours over the last 3.5 days, and you can follow the start of the T20 this week on the stream from Canterbury initially on Wednesday, and we'll be back with you on Friday for the first home game against Glamorgan from a sunny Seat Unique Stadium where Durham have won here for the first time in their history. Good afternoon.